I thought we would try something absolutely brand new tonight. Everybody's gone. It's Friday. All my employees are gone. My wife is in Texas doing the show in Waco. Hopefully you were there today and spent all of your COVID cash at my wife's booth. Anyways, the big leather show in Waco, Texas going on this weekend. A friend of mine called from New Mexico, whom I love dearly, and he struggles with his sourdough. And I thought tonight I would just share with you my thoughts on sourdough. So we're going to start chapter 1 with the starter, okay? This little, cute little ceramic crock, I guess, is a gift from my darling daughter. Now, by the way, this is, I'm going to call it Miller Ranch sourdough. And I call it that because it is a gift from my daughter to me. Of course, she married into the Miller family up in Southeast Oregon. And this is out of their starter. And their starter is like, I don't know, 60, 70, 80 years old. Okay, the starter. The starter will go forever. And it's really nothing more than flour and water. You mix it up into a thick paste. You leave it in something that air can get in and out of, hence a little crock jar. Every place in the world has these yeast bacteria, and they will get in this mixture and eventually cause it to become a fermenting process. Now, middle of the hot summer like we have here in California, you might be looking at 3-4 weeks till you get a real active bubbly starter. Other places you might be, a week, 10 days, and you'll have some active bubbling starter. Now, I'm going to hold that up there, and you can see as I lift my spoon up all those air bubbles that are in my concoction here, okay? That's what you want to see in your starter so you know it's active, so that you know that it's ready to use. There are 29,857 different versions on how to make a starter. Add potatoes, don't add potatoes, boil potatoes, use the potato water, all that kind of crap. This is sourdough starter for the laziest cook out there who wants sourdough bread that works. Okay, this is what we're going to do. Put a cup of flour in there and put just enough water to have a thick paste. Do that right now and put it aside. Tomorrow morning when you get up, come on out, take a quarter of that mixture, throw it away. Add back a little bit of flour, a little bit of water, make it up a thick paste, and leave in the morning and go do your husbandly duties, and come back in the evening and do it again right after you have supper, okay? Like I say, it might take 10 days, might take a week till everything gets bubbling and active, and you'll be able to tell because the sourdough starter doesn't smell bad. It smells a little bit, just a little bit vinegary and bubbly. If it smells really vinegary, you have an issue. Take out way more starter, put in clean, fresh flour, maybe that's a better way to word it, and some water, mix up in thick paste. Vinegar is the byproduct of an old starter, and it is the death of the bacteria that causes your sourdough to rise. It is also the ingredient that gives sourdough the flavor that we all want from sourdough, so it doesn't taste like a loaf of cut from a cardboard box Pollyann bread. Sorry, but that crap's got no flavor, no taste, no texture, no whatever. It's a sorry excuse to use up a plastic bag, which will choke a pelican. Anyways, this stuff never gets put in a plastic bag. It gets eaten on the first day you make it. The kids love it. They tell you how great you are, and you become a hero, okay? So, once you have a bubbly mixture, take a bowl. Put a little bit of water in the bowl. Take just a little bit of your starter. Drop it in the bowl, and it will, if it's active and ready, it will float at the top, and as it floats there, it'll begin to gradually break apart, all right? So leave it there 15-20 minutes, and it'll be all dispersed throughout the water. Once your thing is bubbly and working, I don't worry about anything else. I just keep feeding it twice a day. One hand. Twice a day. That's all you need, okay? Now, nothing simpler than the active starter. Give yourself 10 days before you worry about it. Now, I want to describe the process, and you will see this. You'll be able to verify it in your own starter. You'll feed it and feed it and feed it, and finally you have this bubbly, wonderful sourdough starter. So we'll say you feed it twice a day, morning and night. In the morning you get up and you look at your sourdough starter. You can tell by the amount of stuff stuck to the side of the crock that it has rose up and then fell back down. And it's not dead, it's just less active than it was, say, 3 or 4 hours ago when you were still sound asleep in your bed. So it has this rise and fall shape to its lifespan within, we'll just say, 12 hours to make it easy to understand. Well, the rise and fall, we'll just pretend it's perfectly even. You fed it here, this next stage is 12 hours away, and right in the middle at 6, it's at its peak. In other words, its strongest, okay? And that's probably true. It'll also be at its sweetest flavor. Sweet meaning less of a vinegary tone or taste imparted in the bread. So a lot less noticeable sourdough taste. Now, if you have a 12-hour span and it looks like this, if you can put your starter in, if you want it to be more sourdough-like flavor, put it in after the peak, okay? Use your sourdough starter after the peak towards the bottom when it needs to be fed next. That way you'll have a lot more noticeable sourdough flavor. You pick how you like your sourdough bread to be. In both cases, whether you use it right here in the middle or right here near its very end, in both cases, given it a right amount of time, this bread will rise. You don't have to worry about that because your starter is active. Anytime you feed it new flour, it goes back to work, okay? So, all the mystery taken out of sourdough starter.